zoom y'all out a little bit. Welcome back to Southern Extreme TV. Thank y'all for hanging out with me on my channel. We've got a beautiful afternoon here in my home state, and we're gonna go slide in to the deer woods and see if we get lucky. Dad's already in the stand. We got kind of a cloudy, overcast day. I think it's gonna be good. So, calling for some rain either tonight or tomorrow. So don't really know what's going to happen with that or how it's going to affect these deer. I feel like they should want to get up on their feet and do some heavy moving and some heavy feeding. So we're going to head on over. It's 2 o'clock now, probably 3 o'clock by the time we get over and up in the stand and everything's situated. So thanks for hanging out. Let's go climb up in a tree, see if we can shoot a good buck. Thanks for hanging out. We are set up and ready to go. Always forget how tight of an area this is that I'm hunting. These pines are just literally just now big enough that you can get a tree stand in it. We really need to come. This is a very good stand, but we really need to do some big time maintenance to it. Just so that we can increase visibility and potentially increase deer traffic. It is deathly quiet in here tonight, which makes me a little nervous. However, we did get set up in this stand beautifully. I mean, very quiet, hardly without making any noise at all. So that makes me feel better. But see how close I was. 2:57. I think I told you guys it'd be about 3 o'clock before we got set up. I was pretty dang close. The wind is coming out of the northeast, which would typically be a horrible wind for a morning time set right here, but because in the morning they usually come from the southwest, which is southwest is kind of at my old 10 o'clock. They usually kind of work up through that field or through these woods. But this afternoon, I'm hoping that they're kind of filtering through this ridge, and they're wanting to get this contour and kind of follow it all the way out. There's a chance too that they want to be on the ridge back behind me. Basically, there's just a bunch of ridges that come together up here above me, and we've got a stand up there. I debated hunting right there, but one of the bucks, that's our target buck, he was here this morning at like 5 o'clock in the morning, so just no way that we could have killed him. Coming up the hill, which means he's bedded somewhere to my northeast, more than likely. our fingers crossed and try to stay positive. It's going to be a very tight window, but it is doable. It's a deer. I don't know what it is. It looks small. It's a doe. Young doe. Good morning, good morning. We are set up. One of my favorite places to hunt. Even though I've never killed a good buck here. We get photos of good bucks here about every year. And we've got a couple decent ones here this year. But they just don't ever daylight. But man, you want to talk about a beautiful morning. It's gorgeous, a little overcast. It's kind of cool, but not really. I would like for it to be colder than what it is, but it's cool enough that our deer here in the south will move really well. It's in the 40s, the upper 40s, but still it's in the 40s. Really think it's going to be a good morning. Dad's hunting up on the mountain. Don't really know what he's going to see up there. It's just, you never know what, that could be a random deer from 15 miles away, just walking ridge tops, come by. But I think it's going to be a good morning. We didn't blow any deer out of here coming in, so I don't know if that's good or bad. It's good right now, but I'm worried that maybe they're already bedded down. But I really don't think so, because it rained well into the night last night, a lot longer than what we had thought. So I think it kept these deer bedded down a lot longer, which is good for us. So, you know, a deer, a lot of times it's like a big rabbit. They make a circle from bedding to feeding to water, back to bedding. I mean, they can make some straight lines, but in general, they kind of stay in a general circle. So I'm hoping that, you know, as these deer start to filter back into their bedding area, they're actually going to do it in daylight hours. So, it's one of them spots that it can happen very fast. We're hunting some real thick stuff. Got some lanes bush hogged in it, so we just need to stay on our feet. Stay on our toes, not our feet, and just be ready, because hopefully we see some deer chasing here in the next little while. Well, we just had a buck come through. First seen him, thought he was a shooter, but looked like he's a smaller 6-pointer. Looks like he's going up in there to bed on that ridge. Couldn't tell a lot about him. He was just a little basket rack thing. There's a 8-pointer that's in here. One good deer, and then there's another one that's like, he's kind of broken up. I can't tell a lot about him, but we hadn't had that many photos of him, but he would definitely get shot. That's the deer that I thought it was when he first stepped out. All that deer's doing is working. He's just working the edges of bedding areas. That's it. It's amazing how hard these deer are to see with just a little bit of fog. But it could have very easily been a shooter, and if it would have been, we would have connected with him. Hopefully, we'd have made a good shot, but they're still somewhat up on their feet and moving around. Don't know. Don't know if we'll see anything else better this morning or not, but it's at least a buck up and moving. Well, guys, I got Brittany right there. I'm gonna put her in the stand this afternoon. She's not hunted a whole lot this year, which haven't really had any fantastic deer on camera to really go after. Very few bucks are daylighting. But we're gonna go into this property. We've had 2 or 3 bucks show up over here. One really decent deer, but don't really know if he's still alive. This is one of them places here that deer filter through all during the rut. You never really know exactly what you're gonna see, but got a pretty good wind for this property, which is what I'm super thrilled about. And we've got 2 shooters on this farm covering a top and a bottom field, which is good. The only place that they could get us would be this section right here, which is where I parked the truck at. So normally I don't walk this close to this wood line this time of year because the deer will bed not far off right in there, but the wind is perfect and the ground's a little damp. So I can actually cut it kind of close, which is nice. The majority of the deer, I think, if I shoot a deer tonight, then it will come out of this far wood line because the wind's ripping right to them. But I'm gonna stay down low, below this knoll, suck around to the stand. And I should never get downwind, really, of those deer. The only way they would catch me tonight is if they come from behind me, walking to my right. But there's a chance that right when they get downwind of me, it would be kind of too late. They would be standing in one of my shooting lanes. So I'm gonna be on a tripod, so I'm not gonna be able to move around a whole lot with the camera. It's very hard to self-film out of a tripod, but we're gonna give it a go. All right, we are set up. I think it's probably 2 seasons ago, maybe 3 seasons. We come in here in a very similar situation, but it was a lot later in the year, and we actually had a pretty good buck. It was an 8-pointer come out from behind us right at last light, and it was one of my first times ever attempting to film out of a tripod, self-film out of a tripod, and I only had my GoPro with me, so we didn't really get that great of footage because GoPro is not that great in low light conditions. Right there's a fresh rub. Very fresh rub. But we're hoping for the best, really banking on maybe Brittany being able to shoot one of the past couple photos that we've had of decent deer. They've been coming out of this bottom. They'll come out of the bottom field. I'll get a trail camera photo of them, and then they eventually wind up here at this top field. So basically our game plan this afternoon is, if they continue on that same path and they daylight, then they're going to be in front of Brittany. But if they do something wonky and skirting around Britt, then hopefully I'll get a shot at one of them. But we're in there for the long haul. We got the Springfield Armory carbon fiber barrel 308 with the tracked optics toric scope. This has become my favorite gun to deer hunt with. Hunting with a suppressor can sometimes be a little cumbersome, especially hunting from a stand where you don't potentially have a shooting rail. But getting up into a stand like this where you've got a good place to shoot, that suppressor is a game changer. What the heck is that in that field? It's a bobcat. It's a little bitty bobcat. Oh, I lost him. Dang. That freaking joker. Well, we just got interrupted by a bobcat, which is crazy to me to be out moving around this early, but I guess guess that's a good sign that maybe animals are up and moving around. That's gonna be a pretty good shot across that hill, but we was gonna let one fly, I can tell you that. That's what's got all the squirrels tore up over there. A little bitty old joker. But we're in here for the night. Guys, we just had one of our shooters chase a doe up the hill. I couldn't get him to stop. He was running like crazy. He ran right into this corner. The doe popped out. As soon as I seen her, I wheeled around. And then he just jumped out right behind her, and then he never stopped. He never stopped running. We had a buck come running through. Brittany sent me a text and said there was a buck running up the hill towards me. Said he was chasing two does, or a doe. But there was two does together. The way I'm facing, the deer were coming from behind me. So I'm trying to figure out if they're going to come on my right or my left side. So I was trying to stay somewhat neutral where I could shoot or pivot any direction. And all of a sudden I looked to my right and I seen the doe. She just come running through my lane. Ran through, stopped. I grabbed the gun, swung it over the top of the camera, and as soon as I got my gun and looked back, the buck come running through. When I seen him come running through, I just got down on the gun. And then the doe made a U-turn and ran back through, going the way she came from. And that buck was just right on her heels. I mean, it was that fast. It was literally 5 seconds. I mean, I would have had to have had my gun pointed right there with the safety off, and then timed it perfectly to try to get him to stop. And then if he did stop, he would have had to have stopped just perfect, which is the worst case scenario for chasing deer when they're running around in the timber like that. It's just so difficult to get a shot. If she would have crossed the fence and come on into this field and ran him a little way, got him to come out, then I would have took a shot at him running. I mean, as many coyotes as we shoot at running, I feel confident I can get a bullet in a deer, especially as big of a field as this is right here. So but who knows? I don't know what the heck is going on. I'm praying that they turned and went back down towards Britt. She hadn't seen them. So I'm hoping and praying that that doe's just gonna make a big circle and pop out, down there in the field right at last light, and hopefully that buck will be right on her heels and she can make a good shot. So, but we don't have that much longer. We probably got about another 15, maybe 20 minutes, more probably closer to 15 minutes. So we're gonna try to stay ready. Wind's still blowing pretty good, so making it kind of hard to hear if there's anything coming up through the woods behind me, which if I could have heard those deer, probably would have helped me a lot more. We wound up seeing a couple deer yesterday afternoon. There goes a gunshot. That gunshot might have been Dad. But we're just now getting set up. I got a little bit of a late start. And as I was coming down into this field, there were deer chasing everywhere. I seen one I think was a pretty good buck. He was by himself. He was acting like a big buck. He wasn't chasing all the does around. He was just kind of scent checking everything. But I finally got over here and got up in the stand. And as soon as I got up in the stand, there was a spike. Chased a small doe down this ridge right by the stand, and they went out across the field. So they are doing it. I don't know about the big bucks. The big bucks may be just kind of hanging tight, and they might have them a doe hemmed up, not moving. But this is the best morning we have had all year. Had some rain 2 days ago that kept them bedded down. Some heavy winds yesterday afternoon, and now it's good and calm. Just a very thin layer of frost on the ground. We got a chance this morning, I believe. I'm praying for Dad to shoot a buck. I want him to shoot a big buck. It's been a long time since he's killed a really good deer. So I'm pulling for him. Brittany, I've got Brittany up behind me. She's in the stand. Me and her basically flip-flop. This is the stand. She hunted yesterday afternoon, and she's in the stand that I hunted yesterday afternoon. So this stand stays a lot colder throughout the day because the sun comes up behind me on this ridge. But the sun comes up right in her face where she's at, so she'll be able to warm up a pretty good bit. But we're gonna hunker down. Just now crested daylight, so I'm sure everything's kind of hunkered down. But here in just a minute, these bucks are running dumb enough. We might have us an opportunity, so try to stay ready. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but I was literally getting ready to talk to y'all. Tell y'all that, we had only seen that one little doe run across the field. Literally, as soon as I hit record, I heard something coming down the hill behind me, and it's probably the smallest deer I've ever seen to not have any spots. There can see it just walking up there and then got cut over. It wasn't a button buck, it looked like a small doe. So the way she was acting, it looked like she was looking for her mom or looking for the other group of does, which should indicate that they're probably getting chased by a buck or they're locked down with a buck somewhere. I got kind of hot walking in here this morning. Had to peel my hoodie off and started getting cold, so I was putting it back on, and as I was putting it back on, I heard this. It sounded like somebody like bleeding with their mouth, like the sound you make when you try to stop a deer, you know, bad. And I had my arms through my hoodie, but I didn't have it over my head. I had my bino pack off. And as I'm trying to get my head through, I look up and that deer's just running through the field. I'm like, oh God. So I'm trying to scramble and get the gun just in case there's a buck behind her. Which there wasn't. But it's been kind of dead here the last little bit. Which it always seems to have that little bit of a lull. We'll see some deer first thing, and then it'll die down for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then for whatever reason, right around 9 o'clock, from 9 to 10 is usually really, really good. So we're gonna try our best to at least give it till 10 or 10:30. And just hope, all you're hoping for right now is that the right doe gets jumped and decides she wants to drag that buck across this field. Well, guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on my channel. If you guys are new to Southern Extreme TV, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are trying to grow this channel to 100,000 subs. So every click gets me just a little bit closer to that goal. It means the world that you're hanging out with me on my channel during this deer season. Stay tuned. We've got a lot more videos coming out, and if you're into predator hunting, we got a lot of coyote hunting content coming your way as well. So thanks for hanging out, guys. I'll see y'all on the next episode.